These glasses are awful.
No, they look great. You look really cool. Hey everyone, welcome to the live. We're just talking about Jesse's new glasses. Check them out.
Oh my gosh.
They're like bright blue. If you like them, let us know. I think they're really cool. Jesse is adding to his hipness, to his coolness.
Oh my gosh.
Um, oh, good point. Oh, good point, Alice. That is a good point, Alice. Let me change what that says. Jesse, could you intro us real quick
Yes.
while I do this?
Hey everybody. We are your friends Sierra and Jesse. Finished up our first 90-day blueprint protocol by Brian Johnston. And now we are entering chapter 2, which is a continuation of what we did the first 90 days. And we're starting the next 90 days. But we're also here today to talk about our Atomic Health Party opportunity and offer. It's for folks who are going to take a deeper dive. It is not a quick fix in any way, shape, or form. It's just more intention and purpose and guidance and structure, and we're here for it. We're doing this because we're living from love and doing all of this for care and for compassion, and it's part of our life's purpose. So we're glad you're here doing this together.
All right, so I'm gonna fix the pinned comment in just a minute.
Okay.
But just to start things off, thank you so much for being here. We had our last live on Wednesday, and it was super fun. It blew our expectations out of the water. Like all of your engagement was incredible, and just made us really happy. Yeah, so for today, thanks for being here. And just to start off, we'd love to know where you're coming in from. So if you could write in the chat the city or country that you are joining us from, that'd be a great way to start.
Awesome.
I see here, y'all are already on it. Mel here from New Mexico, land of enchantment. Yes,
Love New
Mel.
Mexico.
Yes, New Mexico is amazing. Okay, from Dubai. Whoa, that's so cool. Australia, Tennessee, Los Angeles. Okay, amazing.
UK.
This is wonderful.
James from UK.
Very cool.
Whoa.
Ellie in the house, Georgia. Okay. Hey, Rhonda.
Top of the day.
Serbia.
Australia representing.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
Houston, Arizona. Richmond, Virginia. Love it with a crown. Yes. Ocean Beach, California. Very cool. Thank you all. Okay, so for awesome glasses, people are loving the glasses.
Thank you.
So for the questions, we made this mistake last time, but if you are writing a question, please put a big Q at the beginning so it's easy to see. That way we'll make sure we don't miss anything at all. And feel free to just start putting your questions in. We're here to answer questions about anything and everything. So feel free to just let us know what you want to know and we can get into it. And I will kick you off, Jesse, while I'm fixing this pinned comment.
All right.
What would you say has been the most difficult adjustment for you with doing the first 90 days?
Yeah, and I also want to say hi to my friends in Germany because the Wiener Schnitzel and the Rumsteak, and I love Germany. I love everywhere. I think the most difficult thing was just starting, really making space for it and getting out of the mindset that I was going to do this alone, that somehow it was going to be another one of many things that I had tried but never really followed through on, and that I would just my self-sabotaging, self-doubting kinds of patterns would eventually just take over. But the thing that was different than any other attempt was that Sierra was part of the plan, that Sierra made the invitation, and anytime I had an objection or a blocker of any kind, Sierra was there just to listen, affirm, validate, and remind me that we're doing this at our own pace and that we're doing it with self-love and self-compassion, and that we're just going to take it one day at a time, just going to honor this process And that really made all the difference because, we've been talking about it for the past, few months and plus that the buddy system, that doing this in community is the game changer, is the game changer. It's not a race. It's like a community that accompanies each other at their own pace. And that for me, especially as an older person, 65 years old, a person of size, a Pacific Islander, no less, um, would need that kind of really need to go back to those notions of community, and that self-care is actually community care. It's actually a beautiful circle. So the greatest difficulty was staying out of my old mindset and be open and be teachable to new ways to work with fitness and sleep and health, etc., etc.,
Great answer.
etc.
There's a question. Do you feel you have, are you guys doing the Green Giant? Yes. So Green Giant in the first 90 days, we're now in the second 90 days. The
Yeah.
first episode of what we're calling season 2 is dropping this Sunday, which will be really fun.
Yeah.
But for the first 90 days, partway through that is when the Green Giant on Brian's website was discontinued. So October 23rd, I believe it was. And so what he had done was he split up those ingredients and put them in other parts of his diet. So the protein powder, he said, I already have enough protein in my diet. Collagen peptides, he was moving over to the nutty pudding. And creatine, he said he was taking that on his own. And then the spermidine taking in pill form. So we switched over to that same method as well. So we just broke up the ingredients and started taking them in other ways. The easiest way I found to consume a bunch of those ingredients in a way that tastes okay, because the Green Giant, woo, let me tell you, that was a struggle. Even after like day 45, 50, still that Green Giant was not tasting that great.
It's funny when you add the spermidine.
It's kind of green slushiness action. But yeah, so we were happy when that ended and split things up. So another way to do it is the protein powder, creatine, and collagen peptides all together. Just that mixed with water tastes really great. And then spermidine as pill form is much easier to consume because that is quite a taste.
Great questions.
Okay. All right. I'm still figuring out how to pin this note. But
somebody asked if I'm getting more energy, if I feel more energy.
Yep.
No doubt. 100%, 1000%. Just prior to the protocol, I spent a lot of time just in sedentary, a state of pure sedentary. And again, beginning the protocol, and especially with the buddy system, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it in community. And so I was pretty much a hermit, a true introvert. I am a performer, like a musician, performer, public speaker by trade, but I'm also the greatest hermit that I know. And doing the protocol has given me energy to get out of my living space, to go spend time with my family. I have a new great-grandchild.
Great. He is a great-grandfather, everyone.
Amazing. So yes, energy is totally part of the new transformation, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. And question on how do you have the discipline when you don't have a buddy and suffering OCD and ADHD? Yeah, I hear you on that.
Who you telling?
I hear that. Yeah, one thing that has been incredibly helpful in this whole process is lists. So I know it sounds so simple, but literally, like someone was asking the other day, for the morning routine or the oral care routine, how do I get all of the things right? And I'm forgetting the tea tree oil and everything. And I'm like, I know there's so many steps and not all of them are needed, but keeping the steps in order and actually making sure you do things, having a physical list literally in the bathroom, for the week. Okay, I do this, 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 and this, and having a little pen and just check, and just checking them off. That is incredibly helpful. Or the other way is like building really, really slowly. So starting each morning, it's like, okay, when I wake up, I'm going to make my bed. That's my only commitment to my morning routine. Do that and then keep doing that and then add things on top of that. With working out, I know for both of us in the beginning, the first 2 weeks were the lowest expectations of all time in history. Like literally in the beginning, those first couple days in the first week was just getting into the gym. And that is what we determined was our space where we're going to commit to that. And so that looked like literally just getting there. So putting on shoes, taking a step inside. And if we took a step inside together, then we succeeded for that day.
Yeah.
And then, it was, okay, let's add some walking on the treadmill, like 5-10 minutes. And then once we had done that for 1-2 weeks, then you already are just way ahead of the game because you have this motion moving you forward where I'm going to go at this place at this time, and this is fun and it's easy and there's no pressure. And that's the way that we built habits.
You definitely create momentum, and frankly, the cool thing about doing it in community, even though you may not have a quote buddy, that this particular offer is about building in a buddy system where we'll have ways that we can reach out to each other, because isolation is, oh my gosh, it's a devastator. But I know that the first 90 days, Sierra and I were texting back and forth whenever we felt triggered, whenever we felt challenged, we were having a real tough time. And that just saves the day. It's going to be difficult, especially if we do, like, I'm compulsive overeater, I'm ADHD, I suffer from depression, but that's not the big story. The big story is we can have all of those things, but still have ways to navigate through it, and especially in community, which I think is Atomic Health Party.
Yeah, and for the getting distracted, I know this happens to me a lot. Like during the day, I need to have the workout earlier in the day, because if I wait until later in the day, I just get distracted by too many things. So like the wake up workout cycle, that tends to work really well. Just like waking up, you give yourself a little bit of time to adjust to being awake. And then basically one of the first things is going to work out.
Right.
Okay. So I'm still trying to fix this pinned comment, but in the meantime, we talked about energy. Looks like Blueprint is coming out with a bunch of products. They look kind of pricey. Are either of you going to try it? Yeah, so we are figuring out if that makes sense. So basically, for folks who don't know, Blueprint is doing this kind of a large study. I think they are looking to gather data on the impact of adding about 400 calories worth of Blueprint-like food that are coming in a powdered form, and then also olive oil and some vitamins. And yeah, we're still trying to figure out if it makes sense for us to add that. I would say long term, my preference is to opt for whole foods rather than like a powdered form. I know what Brian and the team are looking to do is to compete with fast food. That really is the goal, and trying to make fast food obsolete and change it with this other option, or give people another option. So that's not necessarily where we're aiming to go long term. We want to be eating like the fiber, etc., like the full ingredients. But it is something we're considering, because it could be a cool experiment. Okay. Okay. How did you adapt to not eating at nighttime? Oh my gosh. The rest of the protocol seems easy, but that's my struggle. Brian refers to it not listening to the nighttime Brian, but it's not that easy. I hear you, Don.
You are on point.
I hear you, Don. Yeah. You want to speak to that?
Let me say, with great difficulty, I think admitting just that it is going to be a difficult transition is part of addressing it, and then putting into place a schedule that's workable, so that you are having a really healthy cutoff without it feeling like it's like you're being deprived. It is changing a habit that involves like chemistry, biology, physiology, but it is doable. It is still difficult for me sometimes. And the food, as a compulsive overeater, talks to me around the clock. But I do have some tools now that I did not have, and I have a system and a relationship which gives me a greater chance of staying on track.
Yeah, it's really hard, the not eating at night, because your ability to have discipline and self-control just dwindles over
Yeah.
time, especially if you've had a really stressful day. Distraction has been incredibly helpful to me. Um, they say you don't want to watch too much Netflix or this or that, but in certain moments where it's just a matter of I need to be doing something else other than eating, like doing something that I enjoy, like watching some anime or like, it doesn't need to be 2 hours, but it could be like, 30 minutes or something. Calling a friend or physically getting out of the environment where I typically have binged or just eaten. So actively getting away from that space. It doesn't have to be forever, but while reestablishing this habit of not eating in the nighttime or establishing a new habit.
Yeah. And even those cravings, typically for me, they were never about being hungry. They're about me feeling a feeling or
Oh
having
yeah.
a thought, and then making the change from coping with food to coping with what Sarah just mentioned, calling a friend, texting someone, listening to a piece of music or a calming thing, and making sure that again the structure will give you the path to be able to move through those moments. I'm still learning it one day at a time.
Yeah. So, question from Dean: do you know which spermidine pills Brian takes? Yeah. So, my assumption is if you go to the website where there was the spermidine powder that he was using, that company also offers a pill form. So, let me see if I can find the specific one. Um, but it's that same company, I'm assuming, because that is the one that has the like level of purity that he was looking for. Let me see. Um, where did he? Oh yeah. Okay, I see. He doesn't have that on the website. I would need to take a minute to find that. Um, I'll do some research. But if there is documentation from the past of what he used to take for the powder, it's that same company, and I'll try to remember and see if I can find it within this call. Okay, Danilo said, "How did people around you react to the choices and things you 2 were doing, given that it's not popular nor cool to
Truth,
be that
Danilo.
to be that disciplined, avoiding cakes, fast food, alcohol, etc.?" It's a great question. You wanna start with this one?
Well, honestly, that's a great question. We had to find ways to keep it real and to keep it fun was very important. We Sierra had us dancing either before or in the middle of something to kind of not short circuit, but it would definitely distract us from the patterns of thought that would be blockers for us. And so we knew that we needed to, number one, do everything that we did with honesty, with love, with compassion, and with joy. I felt every exercise. I never felt like I was going to go to the gym every day. And then at one point, a couple of people came into the gym, saw me on the bike, and one of them said, "Oh man, I should be doing what you're doing." And then they both walked away, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, am I a gym rat?" So you follow the process, baby steps, and eventually you find ways that you'll get through. Um, the discipline part comes with the process, and you just have to be gentle and kind to yourself, and just let that happen naturally.
I was really surprised at how supportive people were. I think mainly in terms of other people and how did they react to what I was doing.
Yeah,
I think mainly the issues that I had around social situations was more internal than anything. My friends weren't really pressuring me to do anything. The main thing that I got though was very ironic joke. I got a lot of teasing. I will say that, like especially from my guy friends, they would tease me a lot, and the main thing would be, oh, people would look at me and be like, "Oh, but Sierra's old." Like that is the constant comment that I would get is that
oh,
I'm that I'm old, which is ironic because I'm slowing down my speed of aging. But it would be like, "Oh, how about we do this? I don't know. Sierra's an old person. Can Sierra do that?" This kind of thing. Or like, are you gonna have your salad? And people will just make jokes, but it's all in good fun.
yeah,
And I think internally more than anything, I felt awkward being the odd one out. because, evolutionarily, as a pack, we tend to do things together and people do similar stuff. So when you're the only person doing things differently, it does feel weird. And I think I just needed to get over that. And luckily, I had people to talk to about it, like Jesse. But it's just like letting that feeling be there, like, wow, this does feel weird. Like being out with friends at a bar, everybody's playing beer pong, which is like, why are people playing beer pong at a bar? And I'm just like there and just like, cool, nice, that looks fun. So participating just in a different way, and then
Yeah.
constantly people are like, you want to drink? Come on, you gotta play, and you're just like, nope, no, I'm good, thank you.
I'm
Thank
good.
you so much. And just really kind about it and just move on. But people
Yeah.
will respect your choices and hopefully support you if you just stand steady. And also thinking in my mind, it's just today. It's not for the rest of my life. Because if I think about the rest of my
Yeah.
life, I freak out. But if it's just today, it's just this moment, it's just this hour, that makes it more doable. Okay. Um, ooh, there's a question on mushrooms. And thank you so much for these questions. These are fantastic. PC said, are y'all having thoughts on mushrooms like reishi or chaga? We love adaptogens. We're here for those mushroom properties. That's not something that we've been actively adding into our diet, but yeah, there's so much research on
I've been
mushrooms and the power of
I've been
mushrooms.
thinking about it. I see a lot of the ads for it, and I'm like, oh man, that looks like that could be helpful.
Or just mushrooms in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or these like mushrooms with special properties, lion's mane, etc. All these mushrooms are fantastic. The only tricky part is the cost, obviously, and factoring that in to overall grocery costs.
Mm.
But definitely within protocol to have, yeah, chaga, reishi, lion's mane, these kinds of foods and mushrooms in general. Okay. Be sure I didn't miss anything. Does the collagen mixed in the nutty pudding ruin the taste? I didn't even try it that specific way, to be honest. Brian said that I gave it a textured taste, and I already was like, no thanks. So I actually haven't tried it. But, the collagen is pretty, doesn't really have much of a flavor, at least the one that he recommends. So yeah, we may try it and then report back just to get all the different versions. Do you keep in contact with Brian now that you have met? Yeah, so it's interesting with Brian. I can speak to this one.
Yeah.
The way that it's worked with communication with Brian is there's always a barrier of some kind. So I have communicated with Kate or his executive assistant, mainly with Kate. Mainly Kate and I are the ones that are in contact. But he's kind of, yeah, off doing his thing. And it seems like he only really communicates with people when there's like a specific time and place and agenda. But in terms of email communication, I communicate with Kate and their team that way, not to Brian directly. Okay. Did you dream in your did your dreams in your sleep change at night during Blueprint? Ooh. I definitely have an answer to that. Do you have thoughts?
You go first.
Mainly the beautiful thing is so dreams are happening during REM sleep, and we're going through these sleep stages throughout the night, our sleep cycles. And one beautiful thing about having a really regulated circadian rhythm is when you are sleeping and your body knows basically how to prepare for all the cycles during, you go to bed and then you typically wake up at this time. Before Blueprint, I would kind of just wake up in a haze. I would be like, alarms going off and like, what's going on? Or would just kind of be pulled out of my sleep. I would never remember my dreams. Just my spouse would have these incredible dreams about fighting monsters and being a superhero. And I was like, I've got nothing. But now with this regulated circadian rhythm, generally what is happening is I'm waking up naturally coming out of REM sleep. And so now all of a sudden I have all these beautiful dreams that I can actually remember. And it's so cool. So that has been a really fun thing about dreams. What about for you?
I'll just say I've struggled with REM sleep because I use a CPAP for my sleep apnea. But there have been a couple of times in the beginning and midway through the first 90 days that I dreamed of food that was not on the protocol. So it was a bit of a nightmare because when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I didn't break protocol. So yeah, definitely had those dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been cool, the changes. Okay. Other questions. And these are really great. Thank you so much, all of you. And let us know if you'd like us to answer in any different way. Let us know if the flow is feeling good. We're happy to adjust. Okay. Ready to keep. Okay. Cookie Cupcakes just arrived. Hey. All right. Dean said, are you taking or planning to take any of the prescription supplements? Yeah, rapamycin, metformin. Yeah. This is an interesting one because you already take metformin.
Already on metformin and a couple of other things because of my diabetes.
Yeah. So we have a huge amount of access to metformin.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to start taking that, there's a lot of access through Jesse. Yeah, these supplements are a bit tricky. In particular, metformin, because metformin, there are studies, the ones that Brian's referencing, that have shown some life extension. However, these studies, as far as we could tell, have been done on mice and not humans. And so it's like, my studies don't always translate to human effectiveness. And really, the science here is like at the very early baby stages. I would say the difference between Brian and ourselves is Brian is like really testing the boundaries on everything. That is the gist that I get, taking a huge amount of supplements, anything that could extend life, and really just testing all these things to see the impact. Metformin feels like a higher, and these supplements feel like a higher risk. And the question for us is, we're, instead of trying everything and seeing what changes things, we're trying to see, okay, how do we follow a very similar protocol but do the most minimal? Like, what is the simplest way that we can do this protocol to get the max benefits? So that's more of our attitude, and seeing, what are the less supplements we can take while still getting our speed of aging in the 0.7 range is the goal. I hope that answers your question.
Hi, Argentina.
Okay, Steph said you've been an inspiration. Thanks, Steph. You're starting your own wellness journey. Way to go. Woo!
Awesome.
I find it challenging to make these changes for my own diet with 3 kids and a partner at home. Any tips? Oh, yes. You want to start with this one?
Say again.
Oh, Steph is finding it challenging to make changes, so wellness journey changes, and diet with 3 kids and a partner at home. Any tips?
Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm a bachelor now. I live alone. But I also know that I had a very direct impact on the way that I ate, to the way that I prepared food for my kids when they were young. It had a direct impact, and mostly negative impact, because I was conveying really unhealthy patterns. So just know that if you're in a household where you have loved ones with you, that it is automatically a community effort, that self-care is community care, and that any way that you can create a healthier menu, healthier structure around nutrition and sleep and movement, it's going to be a absolute treasure and impact on your loved ones.
Yeah, and so I'm not a mother yet, but some of the advice that I've heard that has seemed to work best for other parents is, one is the options method, where you basically say, okay, we are eating vegetables tonight. Is it going to be carrots or is it going to be broccoli? And you like give them the choice, but it being kind of a mandatory thing, but giving choice. And then the other thing is like if the kids are having a hard time or unwilling to eat vegetables, having a different relationship with the vegetables. So for example, broccoli is not broccoli. Broccoli is mini trees and they are dinosaurs. And so they're like going around and they're chomping on the trees because they're big dinosaurs. I'm not sure the age of your kids. If they're teenagers, maybe that's not as relevant. But I know that with kids, vegetables in particular can be pretty tricky. So what are those vegetables and what are the kids? Are they a wizard? Are they dinosaurs? maybe there can be some magic and story around the vegetables
Yeah.
themselves.
And making meals together. There's a film out there called Soul Food. And as a Pacific Islander, my kids and I have made meals together, and that's golden, absolutely golden.
I would say with my spouse, who is not a compulsive eater, and he just, he eats very regularly, like the least compulsive eater I've ever seen in my life. But the way that it's been most easeful to have us eat similar things is for us to agree on what are some shared recipes. Like what are some shared things that we both like that either of us could make? And then also me taking responsibility certain nights of the week to be like, "Hey, I'm in charge of food and I wanna make sure you still like the taste, but, this is what I'm thinking. Does that work for you?" And slowly but surely starting to make forward progress so that we're eating somewhat similarly just to make it simpler. But at the end of the day, if that's not possible, you know, eating your own things, at least 1 meal a day or something like this could be an option as well. Okay, Jesse W. said, "Is there a mental benefit to all the changes?"
Where am I?
Great question.
Who am I? Absolutely, there is. I could tell when Sierra and I were doing intermittent fasting, I could tell the first couple of days were kind of tough, but I discovered that I exist in a constant fog. Part of it is my ADHD, part of it's my bad sleep, unhealthy sleep habits, and a lot of it has a lot to do with my sedentary habits and not eating the right food. So, absolutely, your thinking process will improve without a doubt, 1,000%. Um, and part of that also is not just doing our workout, but it's during the day. We'll find ways to do movement, whether it's dancing, stretching, doing all bodies, or anything that you can do to move will help get me back to some brain clarity and thought clarity. So definitely, it's had a great impact on me.
Someone asked about the Blueprint Discord because there is a Blueprint Discord, and, we have not joined it yet. I It's very interesting. We are on social media because we do YouTube, but I'm, like, the least social media slash, like, all apps person of all time. It's very hard for me to, like, keep up with all of them. But that is on the agenda. Blueprint Discord, a lot of people are talking about how awesome that is. Highly recommend it. Anywhere where you can get community, that's the word.
Yeah,
Community community is the name of the game.
it is absolutely a game changer.
Okay. PC said, "Great to hear you guys are normal people."
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Heck
Hi
to
from
the yeah,
Argentina.
yeah.
Um, there is an LA event tomorrow, which we're not going to be at, but I'm just letting everyone know. And then PC said, "Are y'all having thoughts on" oh, we were talking about mushrooms. Motivated, these are great. Hello from France.
Ah,
Does Jesse take testosterone like Brian?
I am a living tower of testosterone. I do I?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think I do.
No, no, he so, Brian was taking testosterone because of his caloric deficit, and he was in a 20% caloric deficit in the beginning, which is massive. A 20% caloric deficit, that is very painful, and most of the time, you're gonna be very hungry. 10% already is something that you would feel, but the testosterone was for that reason, was to, I don't the word is I'm missing the word here, but in order to balance the fact that he was doing percent caloric deficit, that's why he was taking the testosterone, and as of now, the latest that I know, he is not taking testosterone because it's just not needed here. He's now at a 10% caloric deficit. Okay, alright. Uh, keep them coming. This is so great. Alright, and just a reminder to add a Q at the beginning for your question. But Anonymous Granny, wow, I love that name, said, "How many of the supplements are you continuing to take from Blueprint?" Yes, so I can speak to this, if
Please
that's
do.
okay. Yeah, so with the supplements, the biggest barrier for us with the supplements for the first 90 days was the cost. Just the cost of, buying even just buying mushrooms and the olive oil and the food itself. It was doable, but there's a cost there, and then getting the tests in particular was pretty pricey for us. The speed of aging test and then the DEXA scans and all of this. So all of that testing adds up, and most of the $2 million that Brian is spending, my understanding is that cost is coming from testing. It can get pricey. So the supplements on top of that, which is $800 upfront, was just like, "Whoa, okay." We're very committed to this, but this is, like, costing a lot. Um, and so now where we're at is basically trying to identify what are the least amount of supplements we could take and still make sure all of our markers are in a good place, which would be determined by a blood panel. And where we're at this current stage, and this could change over the next 90 days depending on how things perform. Um, we are currently taking omega-3s, B12, and then iodine. Those are the ones we're currently taking, and there's room to maybe add a few more, maybe like a vitamin D or something like that, but as of now, those are the 3 we're gonna start off with, and then kinda just from there. Um, okay. Thank you. The series. Yeah, I'm so excited to get the new series. Okay, there's a question that came from community post, which is about Whoop, and are we still using Whoop, like, bands?
Whoop
What are the metrics that we
is
mainly look at? I can say I'm obsessed with Whoop. I love it. It's so helpful. The data is really great. It's nice to just have 24 hours of data every single day for many, many months because it enables you to see the trends over time. One day of data is not that helpful compared to trending data, which shows if you're improving or declining over time. The main metrics that we look at is HRV is a huge one because that determines more holistically how we're doing all around. But I would say HRV and then the sleep score and the sleep consistency are probably the ones that we most pay attention to. And then we also have used zones. You can input an activity in some activity like run or weights or whatever, and it will show you what zone you're in. So that has been really nice at times to just have that up, like, on the treadmill, and you can see, "Oh, okay, I'm in zone 4. Alright, let's keep it at this pace. Now let me bring it down to zone 2," and then we're at zone 2. But the data is invaluable for us. I would say one thing on the data is to make sure the data doesn't control you, that the data is here to inform your story, but it's not for example, like, if you wake up and you see you're feeling and you see, "Oh, I got a sleep score of 70%." You're like, "Wait, should I be feeling bad? Like, my score says that I should be feeling really bad." She's like, "I don't really feel bad. Like, I feel well rested." Like, it would be unfortunate if looking at that would then determine how you're gonna feel. Ideally, it's more just like, "I'm alive, I'm here, and here's some additional information that can help support me and make better changes in the future."
and the Whoop is also kind because it'll make a recommendation. Your sleep performance, this and that. It might be good to take a nap later on today, and
Yeah,
I
if
thought,
you have sleep debt, okay,
"Thanks,
maybe you take
mom."
it take it. Okay, Don said, "If you're now infamous disco dancing, are you and Brian dancing to no music and you added the music headphones? Your fans let me know." This is a great question, Don. Honestly, filming the, dancing scene with Brian was so funny. Mainly just because I think I might have taken him off guard a little bit because 'cause we're doing, like, a scene, and then I'm like, "Hey, okay, so now we're gonna dance," and I wanted to make it comfortable for him, so it's like, "What's a song you like to dance to?" And then he was taking a minute to I think he was also deciding how he wanted to dance. So there was just like we were filming, and then there was like a pause, 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 "How are we gonna do this?" And then he turned on some music, and I was trying to, like, match his dancing, but I don't really dance that way. I'm not doing, like, the pa, pa, pa around. I'm more just, like, hips and booty shaking. So it was a funny moment, but
It was sweet. It was
we
very
were actually dancing to music. Yeah, actual music. Question for Jesse. Did you get more night erections like Brian Johnson?
Wait, say again?
Asking about nighttime erections, which are hard to determine when you're asleep.
Yeah,
You would
I
need
have
something to actually measure
all the
that.
way through. I'm just like, I'm totally kidding. I honestly, I couldn't even answer that really.
Well, yeah, you'd need
I'm
something.
like 97. I'm 65, but, I didn't notice any increase or decrease, you know?
PC asked, "Are you doing test or blood work, checking your vitamin levels, other essential materials for your body and mind? Uh, are these tests applied by commercial testing center?" Oh, yeah. So we are getting blood work at the beginning and end of each, like we did beginning and end
Yeah,
of the first 90 days. We are also doing blood work again at the end of these next 90 days, so 100 days total. We have done it through Kaiser, which is our healthcare provider, and we're doing it that way because it costs us something like $10, $20
yeah,
versus you can get blood panels or companies that specifically do blood panels, but they can be pretty pricey. So
yeah.
doing it through insurance was the way to go. Um, and then other kind of tests that we're doing, the speed of aging test we did were through True Diagnostic, and that has been good. And True Diagnostic or Novos, there's a bunch of labs that if you look on the Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard, it shows you like what are some of the labs that will accept your speed of aging scores so you can actually get on the leaderboard.
I'm about to win.
Okay, that would be so cool. Totally could though, 'cause you're starting on 1.3C. If you got that down way low, you would just
Give me a kayak.
that is Jesse's goal for these next 90 days. That's part of Jesse's story arc
I wanna
is
get in a kayak.
getting kayak. And I wanna get onto the Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard. Okay. Okay. Jules asked, "Can you touch on the 3rd meal from Blueprint? There's 10. Which ones do you like the best?"
Oof,
I know which one you like the best.
yes. Beet pokey salad.
Mhm.
Beet pokey salad. And Brian's nutty pudding, Brian's on his,
Brian's
blender, Brian Johnson's blender, 'cause you described it, it was like, almost like ice cream.
yeah, like ice cream. I think because they were using probably fresh squeezed pomegranate
Yeah,
juice, red berries, and it tasted like there was some protein powder. It
right.
just tasted really good. The Buddha bowl is also
Oh,
a
yeah,
really good one. I would say those are the main one. The beef poke is really great. I would just be a little hesitant about eating that every day because it has mangoes, which are wonderful, but also highly caloric, and there's a lot of sugar in mangoes. But otherwise, Bootable beef poke is
whatevs.
really good. When I saw that, the mangoes, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I wanna eat
Damn.
this every day." Alright, Sherry said, "Do you use a specific brand of olive oil?" Yes, so we've been eating Brian Johnson's olive oil, mainly the reason being that it hits all the markers. They're essentially selling it at price. I'm not sure how they'll change the price, but originally it was $60, 2 bottles, which actually is a total steal for that quality. So we were buying that up. Now it's out of stock, so there's this big search for equivalent olive oils. So we still haven't figured out what's the equivalent one that we could get. Um, so the jury's out. We're still figuring that out, but as of up to this point, it's been Brian Johnson's. Connor said, "Any advice for overnight shift workers for nutrition, sleep, and fitness? I'm often too tired to work out and even eat properly." Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I think about with shift workers is Andrew Huberman has, like, a whole podcast on shift working and how to reset your or how to set your circadian rhythm properly when you're doing shift working. Because obviously that can be really tricky with the sun being down, um, when you're being active. So that would be the thing that I would say is to check out that podcast episode by Andrew Huberman. The main thing I would be thinking about for all of that is how to set your circadian rhythm, how to take baby steps forward, focusing on one thing at a time. I think trying to do everything at once is just too much, even not being a shift worker. So if you could just focus on, for example, just the fitness part, um, setting up in your schedule a way to, like, get to a gym or get to a place where you can work out, or just starting very slowly to build the habit of working out at a certain time that works for you. But I would start with the Andrew Huberman podcast on shift working. Okay.
I just say that when I was on the road traveling and I didn't have access to a gym, I was dancing a lot in my hotel room, as well as doing like Pilates style workouts, push-ups, stretches, and whatnot. So it's like along the way you find a fit for whatever circumstance you are, and just don't give up. Don't give up.
Okay, these are great questions. Thank you so much. All right, PC asked, do you think it's possible to live between 2 worlds where you can go out, party, have an active life, and on the other hand, protocol like blueprint, taking care of your health? I can answer this one.
Go ahead.
I live for this question because this is the thing that I'm thinking about all the time
Party
is
person.
I love to party, period. And not a party where I'm getting blackout drunk and just throwing up. I just like to party, like, I like to be with people, I like to be with my people, I like to be out, I like to be social, and this is the thing that I've been thinking about this entire time we've been doing Blueprint. I think it's totally doable to be social and active and present in life with people and family and to do Blueprint at the same time. So what that's looked like for me is starting by just setting expectations with loved ones of like, "Hey, I wanna do things. Um, can we start at 4?" You know, or like, "Can we start at 5? Can we start earlier?" People start to know, like, "Oh, Sierra does things earlier. I'll actively plan things." Or yeah, it's just trying to find things where I can be active and social with people that is a bit earlier because my bedtime is 9 PM. There's lots of ways to live life, and it can be done.
Dignity of choice.
Good evening from Northern Europe, Finland. Oh my gosh, brisk weather. Okay. Um, Jack said, "I just signed up for your 6-week course. Please don't talk to me. I'm a little scared. I took the leave." Congrats, Jack.
Way to
That's
go.
awesome.
Way to
That's
go.
really great. Yeah, it's gonna be good time. All right, yeah, and we'll make sure it's at a comfortable pace for everyone.
I'm gonna sign up too.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
You're gonna be
so that if people wanna, contact each other, I'm hoping that we will. I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what time is it now in Finland?" I'm gonna text and say, "Oh my gosh."
and one thing that I think isn't totally clear because 'cause we've had a couple questions on the 6-week course we're mentioning, it's called the Atomic Health Party.
Yeah.
There is gonna be a community space where people have access to contacting each other and putting their wins and, asking questions, and so there will be a community forum for those of you that are wondering about that. That's really, like, a big part of this is the community aspect, people that are very actively taking action together. There will be a community forum part to that. Okay, let's see. How do you feel E said, "How do you feel about some of the products Brian Johnson's selling now? Like, the powder supplements, to me, it seems a little contradictory to his motive." I hear that. I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, um, my first thought when I saw Brian putting out the powders is that this is so Brian. Like, it's so it makes so much sense, like, just having a sense of him at this point, it makes so much sense because he really is like the classic entrepreneur from what I can tell is, really thinking in these like very big wanting to change things in a really big way. And my understanding is really this is a play to compete with fast food. That's like the main thing. And how do we make eating healthy as accessible as possible? I think is his hope. So I think the powders were a little like, "What?" Because it's powder, it is not the actual physical ingredients of broccoli, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it does have a place. and I think it can solve some problems in a certain way. And really the idea is all of us that are content out there talking about health things, ideally, we're addressing things from all different so this is one angle that Brian's addressing, nutrition from, and then, Jesse and I are coming
Yeah.
in our own angle from, like, the normal person angle and addressing it that way. And, yeah, we'll just keep addressing it from different sides. But we're here for all of it, and we support Brian and what he's
I can totally understand wanting to compete or create some kind of a way to, uh, provide healthier food, using powder or whatever. And you and I were talking about, hey, if there was a fast food place that served healthy
oh my gosh.
food, we would be investors, we'd be there as often as possible, but there isn't. I think really the notion of fast food is, definitely an entrepreneurial, profit-based, just purely profit-based thing 'cause, there's nothing right, that I'm aware of where you're being sold a healthy value. It's mostly a cut cost, get the food fast, and, here's some toys you can play with your kids. Which is, hey, no judgment. It's just,
But
hey,
we're supporting what
we're totally supporting that. I think and I can have an appreciation because it's another way to find new, new paths for people to be healthy and to do it in a, in a way that works.
And George asked, "How do you know where the LA hike happened?" I would check out Brian's, Twitter or X. X as it's called now.
Thanks.
Yeah, Twitter's not X. Elon Musk changed to X. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Sort of like, what's the, Twitter and tweet? What is the I sent an X? We're working on it.
Exqueet.
Okay. Great questions, great questions. What would you recommend to my friend who is just beginning Right. You wanna speak to that?
Buddy up. Buddy up. Uh, make a list of things that you wish that you've been wishing for and hoping for as many years as you've been wishing for it and hoping for it, and 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 just acknowledge in your mind that
Mhm.
there is a way to move from the wish and the hope and the dream to actually manifesting this life, this healthiest version of yourself, because it's happening to me one day at a time. It's like, I'm having conversations with my family members, with my loved ones about how much transformation has occurred that I would never, just never even uh, imagine that it would. And it's not just about dropping weight and gaining muscle mass. Check that out.
Yeah, hustle.
Yeah, but it's
Could
about
you hear that?
energy
That's
and having the energy to create, try new things, and not just live vicariously through Netflix and YouTube, but it gives me an opportunity to live my life with joy and with friends.
yeah.
Health party, atomic health party.
Well, so I'll answer that
Yeah,
on beginning Blueprint. What you'll see in the vlog is from day 1, we're basically doing everything that we can, and we did add some things over time, but from the get-go, we're like 7 days a week, getting consistent sleep, eating exactly this way. I would never recommend that to a friend. I would never tell my friend, "Hey, you
did
see what
yeah,
I did for this?" I know I dragged
I
Joseph through
love
it.
you.
It was mainly one the main thing was just the experimentation of it, and we wanted to catalog that, and also we wanted to promote some real change in our lives.
Yeah,
But I would never, ever, ever recommend doing it the way that we did it, where it's like all these huge changes all at once, unless you're basically already doing that. If I were to do it again and we weren't creating, the season, the 13 episodes that we did, I would have started way slower and just started with one thing, like starting with the exercise. Just focus on that. Focus on if I'm gonna go to the gym once a day, focus on just getting there first couple days, then walking on the treadmill, then, very, very slowly. almost where like each step was too easy. And then once I have the exercise down, I've done that for a month, then, just really, really slowly starting to add things and change things so that they stick rather than making a huge change and really pushing yourself and then having a hard time maintaining it. Because we definitely experienced that where at some points you just get tired because it's so much change so
Yeah.
fast and like mentally it's really challenging. Um, so smaller steps is what I would recommend to a friend. All right. Someone asked if we're having microphone problems. Can y'all hear us okay? Just wanna make sure that it's all good. Can you hear us?
Testing.
I think it should be okay. All right. Well, if we are having microphone problems, let us know. Okay. Continuing on. Great question. All right. Oh, great question. Okay. So, someone asked, "Were you disappointed in your speed of aging results at the end of the 90-day trial? Do you have an opinion on why the results weren't more dramatic?" Great question, team. I can speak to my results.
Yeah.
Jesse had phenomenal results.
That's how I do.
It's really good. You went from total danger zone, 1.33 is, like, very dangerous, hazard marks all around, to the 1.14, which is we're still wanting to get it
Yeah.
below 1, but it was suddenly out of those hazardous zones. So, in 90 days, that was a huge shift for
Huge.
Jesse. For me, I'm assuming you're referencing how mine stayed consistent, from 0.93 to 0.94, which we're just calling the same. It's essentially the same number. Yeah, so my take on that, a couple of things. One, what we didn't speak too much to because we didn't wanna complicate it, is the true diagnostic tests are it was tricky for us because it takes 6 weeks to actually get results. So we were in communication with True Diagnostics, and we're like, "How do we expedite these results? Like, we need them before I can literally fly to LA, and I meet Brian, I need to hand them something." So we're trying to expedite those results, but we weren't able to get them to be exactly 90 days. We tried to get them as close to 90 days, but the actual amount of time was a bit less than 3 months. So that's one thing. It wasn't a full 3 months, and it definitely wasn't 6 months. The recommendation is you repeat the test, the earliest would be 3 months, but 6 months is probably a better marker. It gives you more time for the change to actually show up in your results if you stay consistent. Second thing that we didn't really touch on that much in the vlogs is the amount of stress. Um, I really didn't want this to be in the story too much, like the behind the scenes part, but the behind the scenes is, putting together these vlogs is just a ton of time. So doing a full-time job and then also like 50 hours a week of, obviously we're filming, but then the like figuring out how to piece it together, the editing, the edit notes, the getting it ready, so it's actually there every Sunday. So the amount on s the amount of stress on my body went up a ton. I was actually a little worried that maybe my score would get worse, like a notable amount worse. We were still sticking to the sleep and the diet and the exercise, but it was just that stress component. It was just like, like every day when I woke up, it would be like, okay, we're doing these like huge changes, diet and exercise, like making sure, Jesse, are you here? Are we going to, okay, now we're learning how to film. Okay, now we're gonna piece it together, a ton of new stuff all at once. So I think my results make a lot of sense, and my hope is for these next 90 days, things start to stabilize, and I finally will be able to actually make some serious improvements. Yeah, hope that answers the question. Okay, but Jesse, just keep at it. Jesse's just
That's how I do.
thriving.
That's how I do. I stay cool.
Jack said, "Pound that like button, people." Thanks, Jack. That's cool. All right. I'm so glad you're catching us live, everybody. Uh, okay. Da, da, da. Mhm. Great comments. Okay. Had to pop in to say hi. Love you, buddy system. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Um, the cookie cupcakes actually made Brian's house smell like so funny. Um, love these questions. I would have never thought of these questions. The house smelled clean, like nothing. It smelled like no scent. It smelled unscented. which makes sense. I assume he probably uses unscented cleaning products. Very clean, very orderly, a bit cold because there's concrete floors. Everyone has to take their shoes off, you know. We have a comment from Ellen Taylor. My
Hey,
bestie, hey!
Ellen Rose.
Okay, great. Love these. Okay. Thank you for putting the cues at the beginning of the question. That's very helpful. Okay. PCS. Sorry, I think I'm missing some of these. I'm trying to catch all of them. But Sierra, are you still using your white light therapy lamp in the morning to boost your circadian rhythm? Yes, yes, we got the UV light. I use it every morning. It's great. To do some meditation in front of it. We're actually using it now just to add a little bit more light. I love it. It's yeah, really big. Okay. Can we describe more what will be in the atomic health party? Have you given some thoughts on what you were thinking for after the 6 weeks? Okay. Yeah, I think this is a great point where we can speak a bit more to the atomic health party. Yeah, so Stephanie, great question. So the atomic health party, really well, we can speak where it came from. So we are hearing from people like, love the vlogs, it's so cool, but is there a way that we can more actively get involved? Um, the main thing that we've been hearing and we've experienced ourselves is the fear of getting started and the challenge of getting started. I know for us, some of the biggest blockers have been, the fear of self-doubt, like, what if I start and then I can't finish it? The fear of, disapproval from others. What if I'm eating differently from other people and then people are gonna make me feel weird about it or not support me? Yeah, and the fear of procrastination, self-doubt, like, other people can do this, but I can't do it, I can't stick to it. Um, and we've had to work through that really intensely. Having each other has been really helpful. And so we wanted to extend that offer to other people of like, look, community is the most important thing. We want to figure out how to make this as easy as possible for you to eat, exercise, and sleep well. And we want to do it in kind of a community forum where we're actively teaching and also working through blockers together. And we want to give you a plan so that you don't have to think about it, and we can tweak it a little bit if it needs to be tweaked. So what the Atomic Health Party is, for the folks that don't know, it's a 6-week course where we're going to be walking through the three main pillars of diet, sleep, and exercise. So we're going to take 2 weeks for each of them. For the diet, we'll give you an actual diet plan. If you have one where you're like, "No, I must do it this way," then, we're here to support you at the end of the day. But for everyone else, we'll give a specific diet plan, like, "Here are the meals, here's the grocery list, this is how to make it." Um, we're looking to add as many community elements as possible, so, like, we'll have on a Sunday, for anyone who wants to join, we'll have a food prep time, and you can jump on the Zoom, and we'll be there to answer any questions. So we'll be going through diet, working through blockers, then we'll be going over sleep. So setting up actual routines for morning routines, evening routines for success, and helping everyone stick to those. And then exercise. So we would provide a specific exercise routine based on your level, and then just do the teaching of like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and then helping the actual implementing. We're aiming to keep it pretty small just because we're wanting to get personalized. So it'd be a lot of talking with us if you want to. We'll be reaching out like, hey, would love to connect with you. How's everything going? But in terms of the cadence, it's a weekly call with me, a group coaching call, and then a supplemental call with Jesse for those who want a second call, which is further Q&A and working through blockers. Um, yeah, so we give you all those things, and then we'll provide some additional guides as well, things that people said are particularly hard that we've struggled with, like a relapse guide, what to do when you fall off your plan, what about when you're traveling guide, a social navigation guide, these kinds of things. All the details are in the link. There will be a community forum that's probably the most important part where you can engage and interact with other people. And someone had a great idea, Hillary, if you're here, it's going to be in the group of matching people. So aiming to match people in like buddy groups, accountability groups, so you can have buddies to work with. And then otherwise we will be a buddy. That's really the
Yeah,
hope of this is
straight
like
up. Yeah.
us being your buddy. Um, yeah, and what were we thinking after the 6 weeks? So we wanna just like what we said, baby steps. So we wanna take baby steps. So starting with the 6 weeks, we'll see how that goes with the group, and then our intention is always to give, like, lifetime support. So we'll just figure out individually and then also as a group what makes sense for next steps for people that want continued support after that and, like, a community space, access to experts and stuff like this. So it's an evolving thing, but support at the end of the day is what we're here for. Just wanna give a moment for thanks, Ellen, love you. Just wanna give a moment for any questions folks may have about the Atomic Health Party, and then we'll continue on with, um, other other questions. Um, yeah, why are you doing this? Why is the Atomic Health Party worthwhile for you to
Because you made me. Just kidding. I joke when I'm nervous, I joke.
Jessica,
Uh, honestly, this is the number of things that I've done and throughout my life, different diets, different, programs, gonna get shredded, gonna get swole. I just never I never give myself to it. And I think the difference in this is that this is the first time that I can hear this phrase, "Hey, it's a lifestyle change." It's not a diet plan, it's not a physical fitness plan, it's a lifestyle change that could bring you your healthiest version of yourself. And I have my first great-grandchild. I have a second great-grandchild. I don't even know if I told you that my oldest grandchild is now expecting. So and I've got 7 grandkids, and I've got loved ones. I've got my children and friends and the work that I love, which is music and storytelling. I got things that I'm starting to see happening. It's like, in the 12 steps, they say there are promises, and those promises actually materialize as we do the things that we need. I just always felt that I needed to do on my own, and that won't work for anything, you know? But I've not been doing this on my own. This has been with it's been with Joe, it's been the different people who are like-minded and want to live the best versions of themselves, the healthiest versions of themselves. And I'm living it. I'm here for it.
yeah, and no pressure to try it at all if it's not
None
right for you. It's
whatsoever.
just an offer if it and enrollment will close this Sunday, so we're gonna close the door on Sunday. That will be our first group. We're gonna move forward. We'll take it from there. And uh, in the pinned comment is where you can find more information about it. And in the chat, I will put an email if you have any questions at all. Just feel free to reach out. If you just want to say hi, that's
Yeah,
great. But yeah, that's an email, all the
yeah.
information.
Definitely check it out, and just to check it out, and I know that Sierra and I will be here. We're here.
We're
We're here
here.
for the long term.
Okay, so I don't see any specific questions. So perfect. All right, so we'll continue on with the questions. Okay. Next question was, let me just are you both still following the blueprint? Yes. We're doing another 90 days, so 180 days total, and we're continuing the journey, but kicking it up a notch. So we're looking to start working with some experts, nutritionist, trainer, sleep coach, so
Yeah.
get ready for some fun. Every Sunday, just like before, we'll be posting new episodes
See the
for
footage.
13 episodes. And then the plan at the end is we'll have, like, a celebration of life party. Celebration of life typically means death, which is intended like a death
Yeah,
party that anyone will be invited to celebrate 180 days. Okay, and more questions. Mhm. Okay. I hear your points about the okay. More questions about powders. Uh, how far in advance do you meal prep? Dawn asked, how far do you meal prep? By day 6 super veggie is more like mediocre. Yeah, so we've been experimenting a lot with this lately because, as you might have seen in the last season, we food prepped out by 2 weeks, which honestly, in the beginning is what we needed to do to
Yeah,
just be able to manage it all.
labor intensive.
But what you'll see in this new season is experiments on how to make things more fresh, because that's ideal. Ideally, we have things as fresh as possible. We make it and eat it within 36 hours. So far, what has been working is having all of the making a smoothie each day as the nutty pudding, so just making it more liquidy can be easily drink it through a straw. Putting all of the dried ingredients, prepping those so they're just in individual smaller containers, and then I got a NutriBullet. We'll take a new one, but I got a NutriBullet, which is like a handheld blender, and it's just so easy. I have all my berries in a little container in the freezer, so I just open the freezer, put a scoop of berries, put all the dried ingredients, which are ready to go on top of that, and then add my liquid, and boom, it's done. And I just have a fresh smoothie each day, so that's great. And then on the super veggie side, what we're currently experimenting with is getting a steamer for the veggies, so having them pre-cut, ready to go, and then just steaming your veggies for the day, and then having lentils ready to go in a container. Um, so it's like a batch for maybe a couple days at most, like 3 days at most.
Yeah.
And then for lunchtime, you just get your scoop of lentils, your steamed veggies are already ready to go, and then that's it. And then you could I've been putting the ginger in my smoothie, but if you want garlic, having that pre-ready to go. And if you want to add ginger, that too, having that pre-ready to go. So we'll experiment with that more and hopefully show it visually. So okay, great questions. Love what you're doing. What is your mindset on reversing aging? Think about longevity, escape velocity. What do you yeah, would you hope to reach it? You want me to
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, reversing aging is interesting. I mean, I'm speaking from a place of being 30 years old, and my mindset is I want to live as fully and wholly as possible. I think there's the typical, like, more often seen biohacker perspective of maybe living forever or just not dying being more of the emphasis, and I would say, at least for me, the focus is less on the preventing of the dying. I think having death as an option actually helps me live. So, for me, I'm okay with dying at some and I'm more just thinking about I wanna be alive for a long time so I can enjoy my family, and I wanna be in the best health that I possibly can so I can be present. That's mainly how I think about this. Um, yeah, what about you?
I don't care. No, I never even thought about the notion of longevity at Sierra, and I know that the work that we've done together already has, uh, had such a min impact on me pre-protocol, really having living with behaviors that my doctor said, "You don't need to run up to your death. You don't need to sprint to your death," and I so get that now that, and part of not caring, part of living that way really, uh, sprung from a lack of just self-value and self-care for myself, you know? I'm a performer, so for most of my life, I perform on stage and I put forth this great, illusion, and then when I'm done, I'm off stage, they have no idea the level of self-doubt and self-loathing and how I would sabotage myself in every other way, so just doing the protocol in and of itself has created more longevity for me, without a doubt, and I'm here for it, and I'll keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's my new path.
And thanks for letting us know about the audio. It sounds like it's cutting out a little bit, and we will figure that out for next time. Try to see if I can do some stuff on the back end. But anyways, moving on for some questions. We got asked, "Is Jesse your boyfriend?" Lols. It's a great question, though. I think when people see like, I saw this with, Brian and Kate a lot, where it's like, you know, Brian is his age, 46, and then she's, like, a woman, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we must be together." They're totally upset, like, when they're just not at all. For me and Jesse, we're great friends, so we met at a 12-step overeating program. I love Jesse's energy, we're a great complement. The way we are in the videos, I think is pretty similar to real life. Jesse brings the Guamanian island vibes, he's a man of Guam, so he's just, like, chilling, go with the flow. He's like, "Yeah, you wanted me today? Great, sounds good." Whereas I'm more like, "Let's go." Like that sort of a really, really good balance. I think we would be horrible as, like, life
Like,
partners. No
yeah.
offense.
No,
You're
no, none
great,
taken.
but just yeah,
None taken, totally.
but yeah, it's we work, like, so great as, friends
Symbiotic? Are we, like, symbiotic?
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I'm married. I have an amazing spouse who's great for me, that I've been with since I was, like, much, much younger, like 21. And Jesse has an awesome girlfriend named Jo, who's just, like, the coolest person. Um,
Beautiful.
it's hope that answers
I'm
that.
like
Okay.
your grandfather.
You are, but you're like a grandfather and a child at the same time.
Uh,
Very
that's true, I do have a
You
childlike
have a very
spirit.
childlike spirit, yeah. Commit transaction said, "My sleep time alarm just fired. Have a good Hey, yes,
Oh,
get to your sleep
hey.
when you gotta get to your
Get it.
sleep." Okay, Leo asked, "Do you have a grand vision for the future? What do you think the future holds?" Ooh, what what are things you're excited about? Oh my gosh, there's so many ways to answer that question, Leo. This is a great question.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you speak about your grand vision for yourself, for your future?
Well, my grand vision for myself, in a nutshell, I'm gonna keep doing the work as, like a motivational speaker, singer, storyteller, humorist, and let's keep doing that. But I also see myself as maybe being a trainer for maybe people who have similar struggles throughout their life, and I can help accompany them and validate and encourage them along the way, just like Sierra has done for me. I see that as a great possibility, and I also see myself as being the great guide of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
I'm so excited for Jesse to just be shredded, and that's what's gonna happen. The plan is it's a 2-year plan, so the grand vision, I would say, for the channel and Jesse's involvement use your
My
face.
gosh.
It's gonna be so I mean, I love you in all the ways and in all the phases, but, what we're planning for on the channel is for about at least 2 years is the commitment that we're thinking about. We wanna catalog both of our journeys, but Jesse's journey in particular of transformation over time.
Yeah.
So here's the blueprint as long as that makes sense too. But we're committed for at least about 2 years worth of doing vlogs with me and Jesse and continuing to, yeah, catalog the journey. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, Jesse, consider recording a series of relaxation, calming audiobooks.
that would be great. You have a great voice.
Thank you for that.
So that's the future. Definitely continuing doing what we're doing. It's a great fit. This is not a, like, one and done. It's a, how do we do this for a long time?
Definitely.
Okay. People are going to bed. Yes, get to bed.
Get rest.
Great. Love it.
I'm glad you're here with us.
This is amazing. Okay. Has Jesse, yeah, I see. Recording a series of relaxation. We should look into that.
Do your thing.
Or, ASMR or, oh, NSDR.
This year.
Yeah, yeah, non-sleep. So, how was it Leo asked, "How was it to meet Brian in person?" Like, character traits and stuff.
Mm,
How was he to talk to? Yeah, super nice guy, super open. It seemed like he had a lot going on the day that we were there, and that's it's just a lot going on in his life. But he was really willing to just go with the flow, and I was coming in with all these ideas, like, "We're gonna be here, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna dance, and now we're gonna do this," and he was really open to all of it and gave us a lot of space and time. So, the sense I get is very genuine, kind person with a big vision nature, very committed and excited about the way that his shifted. I think Blueprint really took them by surprise. They kind of put out this information, and then they did the marketing campaign, and I don't think they knew how people would respond to it, and the response was really big, super negative at first, and then it has become more and more positive over time, and I think they're like, "Holy guacamole, like, this is a thing," and it's been an exciting shift and change in his trajectory, which is
Guacamole is a healthy source of fat, by the way.
awesome. Okay. So going down, we're coming to the last little bit. We have about 8 minutes more. So any last questions you have, let us know. We'll try to get to all of them before the end. Okay, how did you finish your meal so early in the day? Michelle asked. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's a hard one.
it's
You wanna start with that?
I don't like it. I don't like it. My 11-year-old doesn't like it. But again, it's just something that we're adapting for my specific needs. You know, I'm pretty much finishing my meal like my eating time ends at, like, 1:00. So, I'm still not happy about that. I have other things in place to make sure that I end up at my old eating habits or just breaking the protocol. So, it's difficult. It's gonna take time, to get used to, but I never thought I'd be working out, at all, much less 7 days a week and eating a vegan diet and going to sleep at a specific time. I'm a traveling musician, a creative for the past 45 years. And to make that shift, hey, it's working. It's difficult sometimes, but you just gotta be really patient, trust the process.
Yeah, finishing the meals early is really hard. If you spent your entire life eating, like, later in the day and you enjoy eating, there's some people who really could care less about eating, like my father. He's just like, "Whatever, eating's whatever." I am not like that. I'm a big so shifting that behavior was very hard and difficult. If I were to do it again, I would have done it more slowly rather than just ending going from, like, ending from 5 and then suddenly ending at 1.
Mm,
What has helped a lot is visually tracking progress. So creating a sheet that goes on the fridge and just having a check mark, like, finished food at 1 or, like, no food after 1, and I get a check mark for each, and then I want to keep that chain going. So if I can visually see it, that's helped a lot, but it's been a struggle. Yeah, that's been one of the hardest things, I'd say. Complaining to Jesse has helped a lot. Just like, "Yeah."
I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's an important part. What was the most challenging part of Blueprint? What was the most enjoyable one?
Just getting into a rhythm. Getting into as
That
we
was the
kept
most challenging part.
that was the most challenging part, uh, trusting the process. Um, what made it doable was the buddy system. Just to commit to each other and stay connected and text or phone or Zoom. Um, the one who did not I don't do the heavy lifting in this adventure. Sarah does most of the heavy lifting. I do the lifting that I need to do on my own, but Sarah is the planner, she's logistics, director, producer. Um,
But you're doing all of it.
I do
You're putting
some of
in
it.
you are putting in all the work.
I I the image that I have is that I'm behind Sierra, just like drafting right behind and just following
I
Sierra's
think you
lead.
deserve so much more credit. You you are overcoming great odds, you're shifting your behaviors in huge ways. I think
Yeah,
you're doing
definitely,
a lot.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and what was the most enjoyable part? So, yeah, most challenging part at the beginning, starting starting was the hardest. Most enjoyable is actually feeling the benefits. The biggest one I would say was the benefit of getting great sleep consistently. Feels awesome. You wake up and you're just like, "Yes, I love life." That has been the most enjoyable part
Yeah,
for sure. Sleep. And also exercising regularly, feeling much more limber, just feeling more relaxed in the body.
I enjoy working out now.
Yeah.
Something with
No,
me.
it's great. Okay, um, going to the last questions here. So I'm active Marine Corps. Do you think that plan is ideal for military members? I don't see why not. Yeah, I think it could work for everyone, anyone who has interest in it. Keeping the consistencies, I mean, if anything, it makes a lot of sense for anyone who's not because of that component. Um, yeah, just seeing my father who was in the Navy, he's really continuing to keep his life very disciplined,
Yeah.
and that is what a lot of Blueprint has been about, is keeping discipline, trying to find enjoyment in it. So, I think you're great for that, Daniel. Okay, Susie said, "Do you prefer super veggie blended or whole?" Definitely whole. Although the blended version can be nice if you, like, put some toppings on top. If
Yeah.
you put, like, fermented things, like, yeah, fermented just fermented anything or, onions that have been in vinegar as to give it a little kick. Blended on its own is a little bit bland of a taste, so just adding olive oil,
Yeah.
adding some flavor.
But if you're traveling, man, that works. That blood works.
At this point, we've done a lot more whole just because it is actually easier. It's been easy for us versus blending it. You have to blend the batches, and then you got the blender, you gotta clean that. So we've been doing mainly whole. Blended has been cool in the past. How do you tweak Blueprint for weight loss? Yeah, everyone's asked this. Great, great question. So this is something we're exploring for these next 90 days. Here for Jesse, there have been comments about, ideally would be losing between 1 to max would be 3, or like average of 2 pounds per week. And the Blueprint diet is more carby. Like, if you look at the macronutrients breakdown, there's more carbs. So we're looking to see if there's a way that we can make it mildly ketogenic, just because that will allow are you okay?
Totally.
That will allow Jesse to access the fat storage in his body more easily, and then be running more fat. There would just be more fat throughout the day. It doesn't need to be, like, full on keto, like, above 2 or 3, but we're looking at, like, 1.0, ketone levels in his body. So, hopefully, we will figure this out. We're actually currently in the process of that, and then we'll just post that so everyone can have access to see how to do that. Okay, people saying, "Hey, hey, cute couple." Not a couple, but thank you.
Thank you,
Cute that cute friendship of all time. Um,
besties.
yeah. Great questions. You struggle with stomach issues, nausea, cramps, gas with the protocol. Oh my god, how did you overcome oh my god. When we were drinking the Green Giant in the beginning with the spermidine, oh my gosh, like, wow. That I have never gone to the bathroom so many times in my that was intense. In the beginning, I do remember there was a trend,
Yeah,
a lot of, like, things became very regular, like, smooth.
that's a good way to put it. And then we're eating the cruciferous, the broccoli and the cauliflower.
Mhm. Oh,
Really,
yeah, yeah, that eating the cruciferous vegetables causes some bloating, especially in the beginning. I
yeah.
think making sure we're eating the fermented foods, just giving it some time, that helped, but yeah, there was some bloating in the beginning. Okay, uh, Alice said, "I'm thinking of eating in a 4-hour window from 1 to 5." Okay.
Good
At
for you.
24, okay.
Oh my
I
gosh.
can manage that. Yeah,
Let
it's
us know
definitely
how that
definitely
goes.
doable. Yeah, Alice is part of Atomic Health Party, so we'll
Sweet.
be chatting about it. Okay, you said, "Have you been sick since you started the protocol? If so, how did you handle it?" I don't think that I've been sick. Oh, actually, it's interesting. Actually, interesting thing about doing Blueprint protocol is it's much more obvious when I'm starting to feel poor. If I'm like, I just notice it so clearly, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not feeling quite right." So I'm able to detect it much faster. I haven't been full on since sick since doing the protocol. Getting really good sleep and the eating well, exercising has definitely helped, which has actually been great through this winter season where a lot of other people get sick. Um,
I've been able to dodge a couple of close calls with the really bad cold or flus. I think that has a lot to do with doing the protocol and just a bit more active and getting the rest and getting the movement.
yeah. Leo asked, "Have you read Don't Die? What are your opinions?" I have not read full Don't Die yet. I think it's really cool with Brian putting out the books, especially the ones that are, more fiction. I think that's really fun, but haven't read the full book yet, so we'll give my opinion once I've fully gone into it. Okay, and so we're just ending it out here, but someone asked about your blood work and results on a video. So we're gonna touch on that in the video that comes out this Sunday. Yeah, we had some complications with Jesse's blood work, some miscommunication with the doctors, which is why there was a delay in the first video. And we're trying to address this in this next video. So we'll based on that. Yeah. One thing that I can say there is just make sure you get if you're gonna ask your doctor for these blood tests, make sure you get really, really clear on what blood tests they're gonna order and make sure that, like, they actually do it.
Yeah.
'Cause once you get the blood work, then it's
They
done.
sure took a lot of blood out of me. They had like 5 vials.
Okay, and then last couple questions. V asked, "Thanks for the live stream." Yes, these are really how do you decide which supplements to take? Have you Our main barrier on supplements has been cost. The supplements we decided to take was based on the fact that we're eating plant-based and recommendations from other doctors that are I have a book on the Alzheimer's solution, but just doing a lot of research on this and what are the ones that we absolutely need to take, which have come down to high quality omega-3. The one we're taking is from an algae source rather than fish, just because of the concern with fish around even small fish, there's less concern with mercury and other toxins versus large fish like swordfish, shark. Small fish, which is smash, salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, herring, those are the ones that are generally considered neutral, less likely to have toxins, but even still, we're going to be thoughtful about animal-based things, even fish because of the toxicity in the ocean. So even taking an algal source of omega-3, B12, and iodine right now, and then we're looking maybe to add a couple others, but those are the 3 we're currently taking. Really love your videos. Bye. Bye. Okay. Leah
I
said,
sing and play guitar.
"What kind of music instrument do you play?"
Original music,
Music of
a lot of
joy.
music of joy, passion.
Jesse has a beautiful voice. Yeah. You wanna sing for 2 seconds?
In a minute, I'm a bit take it
Okay.
together.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Keep
Keely said,
going.
"You 2 are my inspiration." Thanks, Keely. Okay, Eric said, "What do you think about eating in a slight caloric surplus instead of a deficit? I work an extremely demanding physical job, and I feel like I would not have energy to function on a deficit." Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, deficit can physically feel pretty challenging. It's like doing a long fast, like, it can be hard on the body. Yeah, I would ask what works for you, what feels best for your body. A slight surplus or a deficit, what works? You might not need a surplus, it could just be maintenance. It could just be, like, making sure you get the calories that you need and just going from there. Stephanie said, "Thank you both." Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you. Okay, enjoy the days. You 2 are very cool people. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate you. Alright. Yeah, yes, Jason, we're live. So, yeah, we're about to end this, but I'm glad you made it, Jason. You're awesome. My wife and I tuned in every Sunday for your update on thanks, Jason. That's so cool.
Awesome.
Okay, well, if you have any other questions, let me put this in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. We love email. It's so cool getting some of your emails. You've just been sharing with us what's going on with you or asking questions. Reach out anytime. We're here. The Atomic Health Party is open until Sunday. If you're interested in the 6th course, please join us. It's going to be really fun and really solid results. But otherwise, we will be on another live on Sunday for the Atomic Health Party. So Sunday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's gonna be our last live, so join us there if you're feeling up to it. We'd love to see you.
Love you.
Okay, you're
Love,
welcome.
appreciate you.
See you next time. Always, I love you. Bye.
Bye.